that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
Oh, no, Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die?
Oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Bunbury? Oh, he was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he a victim of a revolutionary outrage?
My dear Aunt Augusta, I mean he was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could not live. That is what I mean. So Bunbury died.
And now that we have finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is holding in what appears to me to be a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I am engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
Indeed. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely require information. Until yesterday, I had no idea there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, Southwest, Jervis Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporran, Fifeshire.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. 3 addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I have carefully preserved the court guides of the period. They are open for your inspection, Lady Bracknell.
I have known strange errors in that publication.
Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby, a firm of the very highest position in their profession.
I have also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, the German and the English variety.
A life crowded with incident, I see, but somewhat too exciting for a young girl. Gwendolen, the time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, only about £130,000 in the funds, that is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you.
One moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000 and in the funds. Miss Cardew seems a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Few girls of the present day have any really solid qualities, qualities that last and improve with time. We live, I regret to say, in an age of surfaces. Come over here, dear. Pretty child. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems almost as nature might have left it. But we can soon alter that. A thoroughly experienced French maid produces a really remarkable result in a very brief space of time. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile.
Cecily is the dearest, sweetest, prettiest girl in the world, and I don't care 2 pins for social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. I suppose you know that Algernon has nothing but his debts to depend upon, but I do not approve of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind, but I never dreamed of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may kiss me.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
And you may address me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I am not in favor of long engagements. They give people an opportunity of finding out each other's characters before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, one might almost say, ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing and looks everything. What more could one desire?
It pains me very much to have to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but the fact is that I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon untruthful? Impossible. He was at Oxford.
I fear there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I have just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of Perrier Jouet Brut 89, a wine that I was specially reserving for myself. Continuing his disgraceful deception, he succeeded, during the course of the afternoon, in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he was perfectly well aware from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother, not even of any kind.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct toward you.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come here, sweet child. How old are you?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to evening parties.
You are perfectly right to make some slight alteration. A woman should never be really accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18 admitting to 20 at evening parties. Well, you will soon be of age and free from the restraints of tutelage, so that I do not think our guardian's consent is a matter of any importance.
Pray excuse me for interrupting you once again, Lady Bracknell, but I think it is only fair to point out that under the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not legally come of age until she is 35.
It doesn't seem to me to be a very grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is full of women of the highest birth, who have their own free choice of remaining 35 for years. Lady Dumbleton is an instance in point. To my own knowledge, she's been 35 ever since she arrived at the age of 40, which is many years ago now. I see no reason why our dear Cicely should not be even more attractive at the age you mention than she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property.
Algy, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could, Cecily. You know I could.
Yes, I felt that, instinctively. But I couldn't wait all that time.
But Cecily...
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait until she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to me to show a somewhat impatient nature, I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But, my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will most gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Come, dear. We've already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir? Is not this somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed their desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? The idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses.
Am I to understand that there be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I don't think that with things as they are, Dr. Chasuble, there will be much practical value to either of us.
As your present mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. Indeed, I've just been informed Miss Prism has been waiting for me.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, indeed. I am on my way to join her.
Kindly allow me to detain you for one moment. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, and the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask What is her position in your household?
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has for the last 3 years been Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
In the morning,
Oh, she approaches. She's nigh.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Canon. I have been waiting for you there for an hour and 3/4.
Prism! Come here, Prism. Prism, where is that baby? 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house in charge of a perambulator containing an infant of the male sex. You never returned. Some few weeks later, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained the manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually revolting sentimentality.
Oh,
But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby? Where is that baby, Prism?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mention, a day that is forever branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in its perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag, in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I never can forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
What railway station?
Victoria.
Brighton line?
The Brighton line.
Gwendolen, wait here for me.
If you are not too long, I will wait here for you all my life. This suspense is terrible.
Miss Prism, is this the handbag?
Let me look.
Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
Thank you. It seems to be mine. Oh, yes. Here is the injury it received through the upsetting of a Gar Street omnibus in younger and happier days. Here is the stain on the lining, caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage, an incident that occurred at Leamington. And here on the lock are my initials. I had forgotten that in an extravagant mood I had had them placed there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I'm delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It has been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
Miss Prism, more is restored to you than the handbag. I am the baby that was placed in it.
You,
Mother.
Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried.
Married? I do not deny that that is a serious blow, but who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? May not repentance white out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you.
Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are. Oh, dear.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but could you kindly inform me who